Okay, hello everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Stuart, Kendall, here joined today by Jaymie Salce, one of our client services coordinator and executive assistant to the CEO, Mark Dunsmuir here. Plan of attack for today is we're going to go through reclaiming your time and some really key insights on just a few time-saving tricks here and there. We're going to run through some questions at the end, but feel free to put them into the chat box as we go. And we'll try and get to them. Otherwise, we'll go through them all at the end. Just a quick disclaimer that today's all educational in nature. There's no hard and fast rules when it comes to this sort of stuff. So if there's something you're not sure about, please feel free to contact us at some point. But I want to start off first with a quick poll, and you can put answers in the chat if you want to. That's simply, how do you feel when you're under time pressure? That's our number one for today. So if we can, if that's negative, then you've done the right thing in attending today. It's the first step to fixing those issues. So, but they're not overnight fixes. This is all about taking an approach that can work with over a period of time to slowly regain time here and there. So what do we mean by our thought of the day here? It's something we always like to run with. Either run the day or the day runs you. It's all about being proactive. So you can be proactive and really take charge of what's going to happen in your day, or you can be reactive and let today's tasks and today's emails get to you today or tomorrow or the next day. So what we want to do is really instill a few key items, make some small inroads, and hopefully they can snowball from there. But we've got a quick agenda to run through. So what we're going to tackle is understanding the reasons that you'll always be busy. We're going to go through the mindsets needed to reclaim your time, identify where your time is being wasted. We've got 5 practical ways to permanently free up some time. Then hopefully we can go through what to do with that spare time, the next steps you guys need to take from here, and then time at the end for some Q&A. So if you're ready to rock and roll, Jaymie, I think we can get things underway.
Yes. So the first thing we want to talk about today is why we'll always be busy. So here are our top 5 reasons why. Our first one is that work expands to the time available, which means that we often pace our input to match the timeline we have, and our team members are doing this too. If we think about budgets or time allocated for jobs, when we have a budget or a time allocation, it brings focus to how much time we have available for completion of the task. Our second one is distractions. So we might have a job that needs finishing but lacks a clear deadline. So it sits waiting and we end up procrastinating, picking up and putting down other seemingly urgent interruptions or getting distracted. Number 3, our perception of busyness changes. It's all relative. So for example, a high school student might have 1 hour of homework per day, but trying to fit this in with their other teenager tasks makes them feel very busy. A university student, though, will experience an increased workload, although they can produce more, so they probably won't feel any busier than what they were in high school. When they join the workforce, though, their workload increases again, and they still feel busy. Number 4, the perception that busy equals successful. So have a think about how we respond to people who ask us how we're doing. Do you ever hear anyone say, "I'm bored," or "I'm struggling to fill my day"? And the last one, number 5, is being too busy is often an excuse, meaning when we have more time, we don't necessarily do the things we want to achieve. For example, working on our business is so often put on the back burner. Likewise, we put books aside to read and somehow never get around to reading them. So have a think, how many books do you have unread that are just waiting for that spare time? To sum this up, we choose to work in the way that we do, so we have to make better choices about how to reclaim our time. I'll now pass this over to Stu so we can have a look at some helpful mindsets to get us started.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for that, Jaymie. So the first one I'm going to start with today are the 7 habits of highly effective people. So we could probably spend all day chatting about this in itself. It's a really, really great book. So if you've got time, put it on the reading list. If you're not into reading books, check out the audio book, or Blinkist does a really short version of it. But today we're going to focus on the first 3. So I found that bottom left corner about managing yourself. So the first habit we want to touch on is being proactive. It's going to be a really common theme for today, and it's all about making the choices to improve your life through things that you can influence. So for us, that starts with like proactive use of our calendars. So if something comes through today, I will make sure that I put time in my calendar to do that. It allows me to say, right, this is the scheduled time I have to work on that key item and get that result knocked out, rather than just approaching things haphazardly. The second one that we're going to work through is begin with the end in mind. So your values are a framework for the decisions you're making. So you use them to set goals and then focus on achieving those goals. Goal setting is really, really important in business. Business shouldn't be just an endless slog to nowhere. So planning for the future, setting long-term goals and setting a key action on how to get there is going to allow you to focus your time more effectively on completing those projects and getting yourself down the line. And the third one is putting first things first. So set your priorities and focus on them to avoid wasting time on those unimportant and urgent tasks. Looking at the diagram here, if you can get yourself managed well and get yourself set up a good time, it's going to give you more time to work on yourself personally, and then from there, more time to lead others with the other 7 habits of highly effective people. I definitely recommend going through and reading that book. It can be a really, really big shift in mindset and a tough one to get on track with, but it's all about slow starts and baby steps. Now, I'm going to pass over to Jaymie to go through another mindset tool that we use, which is called the all-bed model.
Thanks, Stu. So you may have seen this mindset before, as we often refer to this one in our business. But today I want to link it to the 7 habits that we've just looked at, and more specifically the first habit, which is be proactive, and the second habit, which is start with the end in mind. So being proactive is about staying above the line and focusing on what you can control, and not being a victim and saying there's nothing you can do about the lack of time that you have. As confronting as it may sound, you're choosing to be as busy as you are. More specifically, you're choosing to do the things that you're doing. So for an example, as part of my role, I would receive all of the information from our clients to complete their BAS each quarter. And I found that a lot of the time there was little pieces of information that was being missed. Instead of going ahead and fixing the issues myself, I would take the extra 5 minutes to go back to the client and educate them on how to rectify the issue. This meant that we were teaching them how to fix the problem themselves, so we didn't have to complete the process again the next quarter and spend time again. Stephen Covey's second habit of highly effective people also ties into Orbed. The habit is called starting with the end in mind. It's thinking about how you'd like people to describe you at your funeral, and without getting too morbid here, you can start being that person now. So stay above the line on this, stay firm to your time management so you can be that person.
Awesome, thanks heaps, Jaymie. Another one that we use here effectively is the creation of atomic habits. So again, we could go on about this all day, and I'll really try and refine things quickly. But a key aspect of this is start with what you want to identify as, rather than starting with the outcome. So use an example of that. I want to get more experience. Once I get more experience, I'll be able to work on bigger jobs. Once I'm working on bigger jobs, clients are going to respect me more. We could flip that and say, right, how do I right now become someone that my clients respect? And the habit you've got to form out of that is to just do the best work you can do with the information available and give as clear communication as you can. You create that habit, the outcome is going to follow. So it's all about starting with that identity piece in mind and starting, well, I've seen it now. It's itching the back of my brain. I've got to check it out. I've got to get it off my plate. The response to that craving is, all right, well, I can read that email. I'll knock out a quick 10-minute response. No big deal. I'll get straight back to the project I was working on after that. And the reward for that is, gee, it felt good to tick something off my list. I said there's another one here that I can tick over quickly. And then all of a sudden, you're an hour down the track and the time you've got to work on a project is gone. Where you get the right cues in place and all of a sudden your time becomes much more effective. So for me, I check emails 3 times a day. First thing in the morning, just after lunch and just before I leave. And I work more heavily off a to-do list. So the cues for me are, the craving for me, is I want to tick as many of those things off that to-do list every day as I can. I set aside time to work on that to-do list. I work my way through, and the response to that is I tick them off as they come in, and the reward for that is really feeling quite good. I love to see my to-do list going down in number rather than up every day. But the key part of that is always finding the right cue that works for you. So in order to shuffle things around and organise your day, we've got a bit of a tool here that Jaymie's going to go through.
So the diagram you can see up here is known as the Achiever Matrix, which was also created by Stephen Covey. So in a nutshell, this matrix reflects that we all live in a time-pressured world with multiple overlapping commitments. Urgency is no longer reserved for special occasions. So separating tasks into these 4 quadrants helps us to better manage a flood of responsibilities, do excellent work, and maintain a positive frame of mind. It directly reflects with the 3rd habit of highly effective people, which is put first things first. We need to spend less time working in the urgent quadrants and more time working in quadrant 2, the quadrant of quality. This is the quadrant of planning, prevention, and innovation, and this is where we'll improve our processes and where we are most productive. It also can help us to prevent a number of important things from becoming urgent and falling into the first quadrant, which is the quadrant of urgency. We also need to assess what things that aren't important are distracting us from working in the quadrant of quality. What disruptions can we minimize or eliminate, and what strategies can we use to reclaim some of our time spent on non-important things? I'll pass it back over to you, Stu.
Perfect. Thanks, Jaymie. And I personally use that every day. I've got to sit just here next to my emails to make sure that I'm working on the right ones at the right time. We're going to tick into some strategies now. And strategy number 1 is utilization of the productivity pyramid. So a bit of a pyramid here. Starting at the bottom, we've got things that take lots of time. And up the left there, we've got the return on that time invested. So at the bottom, improve is getting better at the work we're currently doing. That's really important. And every one of these steps is important. But this is all about working smarter and not harder. So the amount of time it takes to improve, and that's your training, that's your reading, your professional development. It takes a lot of time for not a lot of improvement in terms of there's only so much work that one person can do. So once you've improved the point, or you've done all the improving you can do, it's all about increasing. So finding more people to work with you and do the same tasks you're doing. That's going to free up your workload. And the freer you are, and with more people doing the work, the more time that you can invest in different things. So that might be investing in technology, investing in better processes, enable you to scale more. So let's take, say, a chiropractor business. That chiropractor goes out and does as much study as they can do and gets to a point where they've got a client base they can't look after anymore. So they go out and they get more contractors or more employees on board. With the free time created by that, they can invest in technologies to improve their booking process, improve their follow-ups, and improve the way they attract new clients. Once you've done the 3 of them, it's all about inventing a new way to go about business. So maybe you get your business to a point where other people would like to emulate what you do, and you've got a product you can now offer to the outside world. Could be a specific booking program for your industry. And once you've gone through that entire process, it's all about innovation. Can I get paid speaking work to teach other people? Can I get work in parallel fields or complementary businesses? So it's all about using the right time to work smarter and not harder. And that all comes down to good decision making by yourself and the people around you. And Jaymie's going to go through the importance of working with the right people.
Thanks. So the second strategy to reclaim time is to stop working with the wrong people. So to do this, we recommend to avoid working with people who don't pay your invoices on time, they treat your team badly, they don't live to your core values, or are unreliable. Opening the door of opportunities to the wrong people frees up your time to spend with customers or clients that are better aligned with your values, and your team will thank you for it. Is there someone that comes to mind right now that you'd like to open the door of opportunities to?
Yeah, the more opportunities that are out there, the more free time, the more work you can go out and do. Being able to free up that time to work with more people, we use this 10 hats organizational structure. So I'm going to go through this quickly because we've done a video on this previously. So either ask for your advisor or one of our team for the link, or jump onto a YouTube channel. It was presented by Mark and Steph a little while ago. But it's just about separating your business into the key areas and making sure you're focusing on them at different times in your business. The number one issue we see is people spend nearly 100% of their time in the operations and delivery of their business, and that's because they're good at what they do. You might be a really good chippy or a really good chiropractor or a really good doctor, and you go into business for yourself, but you can neglect the different parts of your business, or not make a priority of the different other areas of business in attracting new work, managing your finances, managing the team around you. So it's all about, different thinking at different times and booking the different times to meet with different parts of your team. So you might have someone who's running your marketing team for you, making sure you're setting up the right meetings and the right appointments with those people to have the right things ticked off, the right work being done. And in order to do that, it's really, really important to set good meetings, which Jaymie's going to go through a bit of a description of.
Yeah, so strategy number 4. So the next strategy for reclaiming some time is to run better meetings. I know that everyone has different businesses, so some of you will run more meetings than others, but there is value in having regular meetings if they're done well, whether it's a 10-minute toolbox meeting over coffee and muffins or meeting with prospective customers. Ensure they're efficient and valuable to everyone attending. Poorly planned meetings are consistently a top 10 time waster. So here are some of our rules of the game for running effective meetings. Number 1 is to set a time limit and to actually stick to it. So if it's a toolbox meeting, make sure it's no more than 10 minutes. If it's a monthly team meeting, set a timer of 45 minutes. Make sure that you check the time as you go through the meeting and remind everyone of the time agreed if it looks like the meeting will drag on. Number 2, report prior to meeting. So consider using a weekly team member report so you can see what your team have been working on, what challenges they have, the support they need, and what they have planned for the week. This will increase efficiency dramatically. We have a team member weekly report template that we can share with you if you'd like, so just get in contact with us if you would. Number 3 is set a regular rhythm for team meetings. So, for example, a daily or weekly huddle of no more than 10 minutes. Having these meetings scheduled means your team will remain fully informed and you won't be repeating yourself to every team member. Likewise, you're providing a forum for feedback, so you should get less interruptions during the working day. Number 4, clear purpose and agenda. This means make sure that every meeting has a purpose and a predefined agenda. This encourages attendees to prepare and minimises the risks that the meeting will go off on a tangent and soak up unnecessary time. If an item comes up that isn't on the agenda, make sure to set time aside another time to deal with that matter. Number 5 is not lengthy discussions. So if you've received team member reports prior to the meeting and you have an agenda, then you should be able to make decisions quickly. If there needs to be more detailed discussion, delegate it to the most appropriate people and set a separate meeting aside so you're not wasting everyone's time. Record your agreed actions from the meeting, who, what, and by when they will be achieved. And the final one is accountability. This is the check-in on the actions recorded from prior meetings, having follow-up or regular meeting rhythms, make sure that the task gets done. Stu, I'll hand that one over to you now.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jaymie. Strategy number 5 is delegate effectively. So we're going to be sending out a recording of this, but if you're going to screenshot anything from today, I'd make it this slide. And this goes back to our above and below the line behaviour, and it really separates leading from managing people. So delegation is the right person doing the right job with the right amount of help. Abdication is making a problem someone else's problem. So it's not a case of, here, do this for me, let me know when it's ready to go. It's a case of, can you please do X, Y, and Z for me? I'd like it done by this date. And if you have any questions, let me know or book some time and we'll go through it in more detail. So doing that, it gives us those really, really desirable top right-hand side results there, building trust and respect with the team, better communication and motivation. Everyone becomes more efficient and higher productive. Jobs completed on time and more profitably. Everyone's happy, and it gives you much more scope to plan things down the track. What we really don't want to see is an abdication process where you just get it off your plate and it goes to someone, and then there's no real follow-up process. And another key part of this is to don't treat yourself any differently to someone else in this. So because you can certainly abdicate things to future you. I know I'm a shocker. I'm really horrible to future Stu. Those urgent and not important things just seem to drop off the list sometimes, and you think, I'll get to that when I get to it down the road, and then that time comes and you're not prepared. So take that extra time now, write things down while they're fresh in your mind. Say, yep, I'm going to put this in my calendar for a week from today to work on, and then the details is all there ready to rock and roll. Really nice. Be nice to future you. So it's now poll time again. Hopefully there's some steps you can implement, but I want to put anyone, if you've got anything that's popped up for you find is really effective, what's the first thing you do with your free time? What's the first thing you feel like you're going to implement? Because hopefully you can go out and you can teach other people what you've learned, or you can sharpen your saw and you can improve yourself as a leader so that you can teach that forward to other people. You can make a better plan and be more commercial with the way you approach things. You can create those better habits, and you can, most importantly, take that additional time for yourself and not be stuck working in your business all day, every day. Jaymie, next steps.
Thank you. So what are the next steps from here? So the first thing would be to assess where your time is being underutilized. So this will help you become more conscious of the daily choices you make that impact your capacity. Make sure you get clear on the habits you wish to create. So the ones you know you need to improve for productivity and focus. Planning for sustainable improvement starts with you and the leaders in your business. Number 3, identify your 3 most important actions. We'll be asking you to record these in your feedback from this webinar so that we can be sure that this hour has been powerful and you've got something out of this one. Number 4 is focus on what you can do instead of worrying about what is out of your control. And the last one is we're here to help. So if you do have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out so we can help you achieve those. We'll go through a couple of questions that we've had come through. So Stu, I'll let you answer these. So first one is, how do we approach something like Orbed with the team as something brand new to them?
Yeah, okay, so that Orbed can be one that not a lot of people have seen before and fairly confronting for some people, especially if they're prone to some below the line behaviour. For me, it's just a matter of getting the whole team together, going through it in as much detail as you can, really showing the positive results of what comes with above the line thinking, and then just try and live it yourself, be a leader, live above the line yourself. It's okay to think below the line as long as you act above the line, and the team should hopefully, attach to that, appreciate the way you're going about it, and start to follow suit from there.
Thanks, Stu. And the other one that we have is, where's a good place to start? So what would you recommend if you want to put something in place?
If I had to pick a favourite out of all the things we've used today, it's the Achiever Matrix. So that's the one that identifies the urgent and not urgent quadrants, important and not important. Like I said earlier, I've got that taped to my wall above the phone, above my emails. Every time I see something come through is, am I the right person to be doing this? And is the other right person to be doing this? It's really effective. It's really easy, and it gets you really thinking in that most effective use of your time mindset. That's my favourite.
Perfect. Thanks for that. If anyone does have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us after this webinar, and we can help you out with those ones.
Fantastic. So parting thought for today is, from Star Wars here, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's no, try not, it's do or do not, there is no try. So the first step's always the hardest. Just start finding ways to become more effective in your workday. Start putting things in your calendar, start sticking to it, hold yourself accountable to when you're not putting things in your calendar, but just take that first step. It's going to be really, really powerful, really, really good way to free up time for yourself. So that's it. Thank you so much all for attending today. It's been fun. It's the year's already sort of getting away from us. I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody, but it's already sort of into January. So hope you're all tracking well. If there's anything you need, feel free to sing out. And thank you, Jaymie, so much for joining me today and going through a few time saving measures for our clients.
Thanks.
All right, guys. All right, we'll end there. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.